On a frosty December day in 1896, a story was born in Eisenach that would later conquer the world. Heinrich Ehrhart, a gifted engineer, founded his first machine factory. His nephew, Johann Heinrich Ehrhart, had already become famous as the inventor of steam locomotives. At the time, the production of automobiles was a strictly military endeavor. Erhart's factory produced ambulances, army kitchens, and even bicycles for the German army. Heinrich, already a man of advanced age, was in his 50s. His youth is shrouded in mystery. We only know that he was born in Thuringia in 1840. At the age of 24, he began his career at Hartmann's machine factory in Chemnitz, where he became fascinated by machinery. Erhart's factory did not stand out in any special way, fulfilling orders from the army. One day, Henry had an article in the local newspaper for breakfast that turned his life upside down. It told of the incredible achievements of Daimler and Benz, German geniuses who had created sidecars that were rapidly gaining popularity. Erhart could not stay away. He felt he was not inferior to his colleagues. In his head, he had the idea to create something exceptional, something that would be talked about by millions. But to save time and money, Heinrich decided to take a different route. He purchased a license for a French car, BMW. This is how the motorized Wartmark carriage was born, which became the progenitor of what we know today as BMW. In the fall of 1898, just a few months after its introduction, Wartburg arrived at the Dusseldorf Automobile Exhibition, joining the ranks of such giants as Tyler, Opel, and Daimler-Koppen. A year later, Wartburg made a sensational achievement by winning 2 major automobile races. In all, it won 22 medals during its existence, one of which was awarded for its elegant design. The future of the Wartburg was bright, but its glorious history came to an end just a few years later. In 1903, Erhart's factory was on the verge of bankruptcy. Years of unpaid debts brought the company to the brink of closure. The question of radical measures came to the fore: reprofiling or complete liquidation. However, unexpectedly, a savior appeared on the horizon. It was a stock speculator, Yakov Shapira. He was an avid fan of the automobile, and the thought of parting with this marvel of technology, as well as with the profits from its production, horrified him. Shapira invested heavily in the company, becoming its savior. He took over Erhart's management, assuming some of the responsibilities and authority. Under Shapira's leadership, the plant's engineers began to create Dixie cars designed under the license of the British Austin. Curiously, the first batch of cars went on the road with right-hand drive. This was the first and last time in continental Europe that the passengers sat on the left side. Between 1904 and 1914, 15,822 Dixie cars were produced and were extremely popular. But the competition did not stand still. To counter it, the company decided to create its own development. So appeared Dixie 315 PS with a powerful 16-horsepower engine and solid speed up to 75 kilometers per hour for those times. However, this car was also built on the basis of the English Dixie. Henry's dream of having his own car was never realized, as the shareholders were focused solely on profits. To increase profits, Carl Friedrich Rapp, a Swiss engineer with a passion for aviation, was invited to join the company. He was a man of immense talents and enthusiastic about his work, but luck persistently eluded him. Under the wing of BMW, Rapp set up a small production facility for aircraft engines and airplanes. His first biplane, presented at an exhibition, could not even take off. But the engineer did not give up, and with even greater zeal began work on the next biplane with an engine of his own design. However, even at this stage, the company did not achieve the desired success. The fact is that the exhibition, which had high hopes and was scheduled for 1914, did not take place because of the outbreak of war. In the heat of World War I, when the army was hungry for powerful engines and airplanes, Hermann Rapp's attempt to create them failed. The roaring engines of his machines were met with outrage by residents who demanded that their homes be shielded from their noise. Despite the failure, Rapp founded the Bavarian Aircraft Works, BFW, on March 7, 1916. But the company needed investment, and that's when Camillo Castiglione, a Viennese banker, came along. He bought out Rapp's share and raised BFW's capital to an impressive 1.5 million marks. Diverse industries circled under the BMW banner, run by different people but united by a common company. After acquiring shares in BFW, Castiglione brought in Frenchman Franz Joseph Popp, an engineer with extensive experience in technical achievements. He proposed a strategy for the development of the company. Popp invited Max Fritz from Daimler, and on July 21st, 1917, a significant event took place. Rapp's BFW was renamed Bavarian Motor Works, BMW. This is how the world-famous auto giant was born. BMW's main product was still aircraft engines. However, the Treaty of Versailles, after the war, banned their production in Germany. But even this did not break BMW. In 1919, an airplane with a BMW engine set an altitude record, which was not counted because of the treaty. Banker Castiglione purchased another aircraft engine plant for the company, dividing production into two branches: airplane engines and automobiles. BMW engineers focused on the new field and in 1923 shocked the world with their first motorcycle, the BMW R32. For 5 years, the company unsuccessfully sought to define its direction. Finally, the decision was made to focus on motorcycles, automobiles, and aircraft engines. In parallel, BMW continued to produce the British Dixie, winning the 1929 Olympic race. In 1930, the company took the bold step of going back to the past. Under the Wartburg name, the BMW 3 model was released, resembling a motorized sidecar of the last century. Motor and Sport magazine called this car worthy of only a good driver, and it was not just flattery. It could reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. The next sensation was BMW 303, which conquered the audience of the Berlin Motor Show. Under its hood was the smallest ever created six-cylinder engine with a volume of 1,173 cubic centimeters, which guaranteed a speed of over 100 kilometers per hour. It was this model that defined the look of BMW cars for many years to come. Convertible BMW 326 became another favorite of car enthusiasts, ending the era of the first three. Up to 1941, 16,926 copies of this model were sold. The company did not forget about cars for the elite. In 1939, the first BMW limousine was produced, which competed with Opel Admiral and Ford V8. But only having time to get on its feet, the company faced a new war, which put a cross on the development of civilian automobile industry. All production facilities were switched to the manufacture of aircraft engines and military vehicles. The rumblings of war took the once prosperous enterprise with it. Mirberge and Ossenbruck lay in ruins. The factories in Eisenach were taken over by the Soviet army, and the surviving equipment was sent to distant Russia. But it was not in the character of the Germans to give up. At the shareholders' meeting, those who survived the war and remained loyal to their homeland decided to revive production. The road ahead was difficult, requiring huge resources and capital. Investors flowed in. The management of the company changed from time to time depending on who contributed more money. But despite all the turmoil, BMW did not retreat. In 1948, at the Geneva exhibition, was presented the first post-war novelty BMW, motorcycle R24. It was followed by the R51, M67, and R68, which were immensely popular. By the 50s, about 30,000 Germans were already riding BMW motorcycles. However, the main goal remained a return to automobile production, and the first step was the BMW 501. Although the public welcomed it with delight, it proved too expensive to produce. The next models, 507 and 503, suffered the same fate, and the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Salvation came unexpectedly. In the hope of revival, it was decided to produce inexpensive Moto Coupe BMW Isetta 250. To the surprise of skeptics, this unremarkable car became a real hit. In just a few years, 137,000 cars were sold, including in England, where the rights to drive a motorcycle and Isetta were interchangeable. However, even after this triumph, failures again fell on the Bavarians. The year 1959 was a turning point in the fate of BMW. The financial crisis pushed the board of the company to make a difficult decision to merge. However, attempts to merge with Mercedes were not successful. A group of shareholders, including Herbert Quandt, bought BMW shares, saving the company from imminent collapse. The new board of directors set ambitious goals: the production of mid-range cars and aircraft engines. Soon, the BMW 1500 was born, capable of reaching speeds of up to 150 km/h and accelerating to 100 in 16.8 seconds. This was followed by the Benwick 2500, which won the 24-hour race at Spa. In the 1970s, BMW introduced a serial number system for its cars based on class. The 1972 BMW 520 was the first 5 after World War II. It was equipped with a 4-cylinder engine and was considerably heavier than its predecessors, 1200 kg. In 1978 at the Paris Motor Show, the M1 project, designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, made its debut. This car could compare even with Lamborghini. It accelerated to 100 km/h in 6 seconds, creating the feeling of driving a Ferrari. So the German analog of the Italian sports masterpiece appeared. While BMW was engaged in creating high-speed cars, it did not lose sight of its loyal fans. In 1975, the company launched the BMW 320i, which quickly became the benchmark of its class. With a top speed of 192 km/h and acceleration to 100 km/h in 9 seconds, the car won the hearts of enthusiasts. The only drawback was the fuel consumption of 14 liters per 100 kilometers. BMW lineup was replenished year after year, including such models as 316i, 320i, and 323i. Since then, the 3 has become an iconic car. In the late 70s, the 728 debuted, the first of a series of 7s. With a weight of 1.5 tons, the car could accelerate up to 200 km/h and was cheaper than the new Mercedes S-Class. In 1983, BMW took part in the Formula One turbocharged car championship for the first time. To everyone's surprise, Brazilian Nelson Piquet beat his rivals in a BMW-powered car. The power of the M1213 engine reached 1280 horsepower at 11,000 RPM. For the first time in history, BMW became the Formula One world champion among turbocharged cars. By the mid-1980s, BMW had established itself in the automotive world, dispelling doubts about its abilities. In just 15 years, the company went from unprofitable to an industry leader. Then a race between BMW and Mercedes unfolded, which led to the creation of the legendary M3 in the E30 body. This car could accelerate to 100 km/h in just 6 seconds and allowed the driver to choose the suspension stiffness depending on road conditions. In 1989, BMW began production of luxury cars with the release of the 850i model. Designed to compete with the Aston Martin Virage, Ferrari Mondial, Mercedes 500 SL, and Porsche 928, the 8 Series was to be the flagship of the Bavarian brand. Despite its technical merits, the car quickly disappeared from view after its high-profile premiere, sharing the fate of many other similar cars. In 1992, the automotive world bowed before the M5 E34, a legendary car with a ferocious 380 horsepower engine. It accelerated to 100 in just 6.5 seconds, leaving its rivals behind in a cloud of roaring engine power. The 90s were an era of renewal for BMW. The 7 Series was transformed, especially in the face of the 740i and the E38 body. The 5s weren't lagging behind either. E39 amazed the world with 7 different engines, capable of satisfying both speed lovers and those who valued comfort. For the most demanding, the 540i was created. In 1999, BMW entered a new market by opening a plant in Spartanburg, South Carolina. However, the Bavarians realized that it was not enough to conquer Americans with sedans alone. Consumers across the ocean wanted not only speed and convenience, but also style. BMW needed a model that would fulfill their dreams. The answer came in the form of the X5, the first lightweight SUV in the company's history. Built on the E39 platform, the X5 featured a load-bearing body and independent suspensions. It became the best-selling SUV for 15 years, ceding supremacy only recently. In 2002, the BMW Group reached peak sales, selling more than 1 million cars. In the same year, it became the winner of the Car of the Year in Russia contest. The luxurious BMW 760i and 760Li expanded the lineup in 2003 and a new 2. Femme Series completed the range. The BMW Z4 took the title of Best Convertible. In 2006, the sleek BMW X6 entered the market, combining off-road performance with coupe-like design. Although the Nissan Infiniti FX35 beat the Germans by introducing a similar model back in 2003, BMW still gained market share by challenging its Japanese competitors. In 2008, BMW broke a record by producing more than 1 million cars in 1 year. The group employed over 100,000 people and generated revenues of more than 50 billion euros. Net profit amounted to 3 billion euros, marking the first year in which the Bavarian auto giant fully paid off its debts. In 2009, the world saw the long-awaited novelty. BMW 550i sedan, a worthy representative of the legendary 5 Series. It became the embodiment of the best qualities of the brand, outshining many competitors. Exquisite design, unrivaled comfort and efficiency. These are the distinctive features of this car. In 2011, the concern made an important step, together with SGL Group Company, creating an ultra-modern carbon fiber plant in the United States. This material became the basis for the ultralight plastic used in the cars of the i sub-brand. That same year, BMW unveiled the innovative i3 electric car at the Geneva Motor Show. And in 2014, the phenomenal BMW i8 was awarded the prestigious title of Car of the Year by Top Gear magazine, beating out many notable rivals. The company's logo is also interesting. Contrary to popular belief, it does not symbolize the propeller of an airplane, although initially BMW was engaged in the production of aircraft engines. The logo underwent changes but remained recognizable. It was based on the emblem of the founder Rapp, supplemented by the letters BMW. The 4 sectors of the inner circle are in the colors of the Bavarian flag, white and blue. Starting as a small factory at the beginning of the last century, BMW has grown into a global concern with numerous factories and subsidiaries around the world. BMW cars produced over the years have become synonymous with comfort and top class. One of the peculiarities of BMW production is the absence of robots on the assembly line. The cars are assembled manually, which ensures the highest quality, confirmed by the final computer diagnostics. In the shadow of history, the BMW empire has repeatedly found itself on the brink of disaster, like a fragile rook in a storm. But with unwavering will, it overcame all adversity, rising again to the heights of success. The origins of BMW's greatness are to be found in the figure of Heinrich Ehrhart Geisenheimer, a genius self-taught engineer. His inventions made invaluable contributions to the development of technology. Among them, Erhart's method of producing seamless pipes. During World War I, BMW factories, part of Heinrich's vast empire, became the largest suppliers of armaments in Germany, supplying the front with millions of rounds of ammunition and artillery pieces. But with the end of the war, Erhart's empire collapsed. BMW embarked on its own path, although not without the involvement of its founder. Heinrich Ehrhart retired from running the company at the age of 80, retaining some of the shares. Until the last days of his life, he shared his knowledge by teaching in his native Sinshof. Ehrhart's legacy serves as a reminder of the power of perseverance and innovation. BMW has risen from the ashes time after time to become a symbol of German engineering and indomitable spirit. The brand's history is full of inspiring examples of resilience in the face of the challenges of the modern economy. If there's anything I forgot to mention, be sure to write about it in the comments. And of course, share your personal opinion about the cars of this brand. Because, as you know, people fall into 2 categories: those who adore them and those who hate them. It will be interesting to know how many of both. Friends, this is probably all for today. Write your opinion about this amazing story in the comments. Also rate the video and subscribe to the channel, and we will do our best for you.